To the programme, Diana Ross, I'm coming out on BBC Radio Wiltshire. Now, I'd love to know how you feel about doing long hikes. Are you a fan? Like nothing better. A lot of my colleagues here at BBC Radio Wiltshire this morning was, it's a beautiful day for going out, especially first thing this morning when the sun was shining. And they love this time of year. Others I know, especially if you've got young kids, it's an absolute nightmare trying to drag them any further than to... probably to the car and back. Well, look, the next guest we have on the programme is someone who loves doing long hikes and even documents his adventures and posts them on YouTube. David McEntee has recently walked the Ridgeway, starting here in Wiltshire, and he joins me now. Hi, David.
Hi, Rachel. It's lovely to meet you.
Lovely to speak to you as well. Thank you so much for your time. Now, I'm interested because, like I said, some people absolutely love a long hike. Why did you want to do the Ridgeway in particular?
Oh, well, I wanted to do it just because it's in my back garden. It's a venture that's in my back garden. It's something I've always known about. My dad told me about it when I was a child. And I just thought, I've got some time. I'm going to do it. It's 87 miles. I've got 4 days handy. Why not? I just thought I'd jump straight in.
So you did the whole lot, the whole 87 miles?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, across 4 different days. It starts at Overton Hill and it ends at Ivinghoe Beacon. And yeah, it's a heck of a trek, but it was brilliant. It's such fun.
Well,
really beautiful.
Let's listen to a little clip, my darling, and see how you actually found it. I think this is 2 days in. Hang on.
It is day 2 on the Ridgeway. Today is another miserable day, unfortunately. It's not misty, but it is raining and it is wet. This is not like a crazy hard hike. Like there's not tons of elevation gain or things like that, but it's long. It's you know, I'm trying to do big days, trying to get it done in 4 when most people do it in 8.
Okay, that kind of sets the tone then, how quickly you were trying to do it. It sounds like you were going through a bit of a mental battle at that particular point.
Definitely. Well, you see, because it's 87 miles, you can't just do like 4 days of 20 miles. At some point, you need to cover that extra 7. So I thought, day 2, spirits are up, energy's up. I'm going to dive. I'm going to just put it in at day 2. And I tried to do 25 miles that day. And I did do it successfully. But I won't lie, I was so tired by the end of it. I was absolutely knackered. It was such a mission. But that was definitely, I would say that's probably the hardest part of the walk for me.
I was going to say, yeah, which bit was the hardest? And were there any particular obstacles? Because, I've done parts of the Ridgeway before. Some of it is easier than others. Is there any particular area that you found a real challenge?
It was day 2 because I found that I was in this area between hedgerows. Like you're walking along a lot of farmer fields, but there's these big hedgerows that you occasionally come by. And unfortunately that day I was sort of clumped between 2 hedgerows for, I would say, for about 15 miles of it. So there wasn't many views for a little bit. But so that's probably the hardest because you just got to keep telling yourself, keep moving forward, keep going, don't stop. You got to really will yourself to keep pushing because you know that when you get a bit further down the trail, it's going to open up and you're going to see much more like big vistas, big valleys, loads of beautiful hills. But that was definitely the most challenging part, just like the slog of like getting through these areas that were dark and cold and honestly didn't have much to look at. But that's where audiobooks come in though. I've got audiobooks, I've got the radio as well, I've got podcasts. That's why you need those in clutch, and that's really what got me through that long section.
Some of those, some of it can be quite tricky, but actually, as you well mentioned, plenty of highlights. The views along that stretch, along the Ridgeway, are just incredible. Have you got any particular memories? Maybe you could paint the scene for us, David.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, the best part of the hike, I would say my absolute highlight would be that last trek up Ivinghoe Beacon. Like having walked 87 miles, like the weather was a bit iffy here and there. It was raining some days, it was sunny other days, and I had this whole 4 dedicated days, a massive journey behind me. And looking back at the top of Ivinghoe Beacon, I look back and you can literally see a ridgeline that runs for 10, 15 miles all the way out of view, like because you're at the top of this big plinth. And looking back at that, I did genuinely feel quite emotional, like because it is such a testing thing, and especially if you're trying to do it in a challenging way like I am when I'm trying to do it across 4 days, because most people, to be honest, a lot of people do it across like 6 to 8 days. So if you really want to challenge yourself, do it in 4, and then you'll feel the same emotional response that I did, because you look back and you just think, wow, I did that. That's incredible. It's amazing.
Now, David, you strike me as somebody who likes a bit of a challenge, because this is not the first time that you've set yourself up for some pretty mammoth journeys. What else have you been up to?
Well, recently I climbed Mont Blanc in Chamonix in France. That was brilliant. Yeah, a company out there wanted a video, so they sent me out, and I was able to film a couple of projects for them, but also make my own little YouTube video online for it. And yeah, that was a unbelievable challenge. Like, it was, I think it's 4,000 meters. It's a huge mountain, and we did two of them, and I'd never done anything like that before. I climbed Snowdon before, but not Mont Blanc, and yeah, that was utterly incredible. A really brilliant experience.
Now, you film all of these things for your YouTube channel, so all of your adventures. What have you got lined up? What's in the pipeline? What are you plotting next, David?
Well, I've just literally got back from something called the South Downs Way, which is a 100-mile hike that starts in Winchester and ends in Eastbourne. And I literally just finished that last week, and oh my gosh, I came up against some horrible weather. And then, when there was all these storms last week?
Yeah.
I was in the middle of that, just hiking, and that's going to be a fun video. I'm editing that right now. But then I'd also love to do something called like Offers Dyke, and it runs the length of Wales and England, like the part where our two countries meet.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hike that next, because of the history. It's like 250 miles. Well, I like to do that in the summer when it's a bit warmer. But yeah, lots of things in the pipeline. I'm really excited to continue to explore these ancient trackways across Britain.
Oh, phenomenal. Well, look, thank you so much, David, for coming on and telling us all about it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, keep us posted if you're ever coming through our patch again. We'd love to speak to you again, David.
I definitely will.
Yeah, and good luck with all your forthcoming adventures. That is David McEntee. If you want to have a look at his videos, you can search for David P. McEntee on YouTube. And yeah, just walking the Ridgeway in 4 days. The lunatic. We love him, but he's a bit of a loon.
From art teacher to rock star.